it's hard to say it is. When you say it's not, it won't be.
Okay, we better move on because she's going to overheat. I release, I let go. I accept what is mine. I can have it, what I want. And let spirit direct the flow. Life is good, life is fun, life is great. This song is done.
Yeah, I can say words. Yeah, I love you. All right. Woo. Let's talk. Let's talk. The theme for this month is money mastery, because too many let money be the master instead of the effect of our thinking. Money's never a master. It's supposed to be a servant. And I'm doing this because of working with so many people for so many years, and they look at what's in their checkbook or their savings or maybe the amount of credit they have, and then they decide what their life will be like. Instead of deciding what their life will be like and then letting the money follow. My book is gone. Oh, because we sold every single one of them. I'm supposed to hold up this book. Yeah, they took the book. I mean, yeah, they're gone. But we're supposed to get more, and it's The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. It's fabulous. It's a great book. And she reminded me of something that I learned a long time ago, heard a long time ago. Thank you. This is it. And Sherry will sell it to you for 3 times the amount that she bought it for. And there's a little prosperity going in her way. In fact, actually, I'll sell it for 5 times and I'll give her money back and I'll have some. Yeah, that's called racketeering. Anyway, this is a great book because it teaches what we teach, but we teach from a spiritual perspective. She teaches it from a sociological and philosophical idea. How does society function when we believe in scarcity? How does society function when we believe in sufficiency? And it really does highlight what I was getting to until somebody handed me the book. What book? I've heard this for so long, and I know that I used to be able to repeat who the author was, and I can't give credit to it now, or that person, because I've forgotten the person. But here's the idea. There's never been a money problem. There's only been an idea problem. Because ideas come to us and they start to solve our problems. Now, if we only look at our own intelligence, our own history, our own upbringing, our own background, then we'll only have a certain level of ideas that could solve a problem. But when we start to look to God, we will get downloads and inspiration for ideas that we go, whoa, that's a great idea. How many of you have had a download? Great. That's what we're going for. Especially around this thing called money. Because if we don't, we can succumb to what the society believes, our culture believes, which is in scarcity. And scarcity's 3 offspring. There's not enough, more is better, and this is just the way it is. That's just the way it is. There's haves and there's have-nots. It's not your fault. You were given those ideas. Just do well with less. Which is not a bad idea, do well with less. But if that's the only idea you have, then you have no choice. And this is about freedom, spiritual freedom. You can have spiritual freedom. You can choose the way that you want to believe. That's real freedom. The mystics would have said it this way: as I turn my attention to God, like really turn my attention to God, not like a platitude, not like God is good. but we actually turn our attention to God, we start to understand what God understands about us. And we start to understand what God understands about the universe. And from that place we can say, there is no lack, no loss, and no deprivation. Steadfastly facing thee, there's no lack, no loss, and no deprivation. It just doesn't exist. And if we can get in that mindset, since consciousness is cause, the more we're in that mindset, the more those things disappear from our life. Those are ideas that are life-sustaining and life-providing. So we let the big lie of scarcity start to dissolve in us. We don't fight it. I mean, that's why when someone would say my life's hard, I'm not going to talk them out of it, because in their experience it's hard. But I might have them start to consider how the universe would look at things. So the more that we can turn to that point of view, there's a dissolving grace that happens. And those ideas start to fall away. And then we need to replace those ideas with something. How many of you have been told to let go of something like hate or prejudice or, just let it go, just let it go? Well, here's the problem. And there is a problem, by the way. There's a problem with just let it go. You could let it go, but it's coming back because you haven't replaced it with anything. And Jesus, who was probably one of the best psychologists ever known, went right to the, it was so clear, ding, 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 ding. Oh, you having a problem with that person? Well, look in your own eye. You know, like it's just a projection of what you're seeing through. He was so good. And he said that if you cast out a demon and don't replace that demon with something else in your house, which is your consciousness, it will come back with 7 of its cousins. So we think we let something go, but if we don't replace it in our consciousness, in our awareness, what we're paying attention to, it just comes back with evidence. Evidence. For instance, I'm letting go of there's no lack, no loss, and no deprivation. There's nothing can take away from my sense of fullness. Yeah, yay. And then we had this experience Tim was going to have somebody come and fix the gutter downspout. And he said, well, that's having a problem because your leaf guard's not working. Well, we have to have new leaf guards put on. And then he said, well, I don't want to replace those leaf guards because your gutters are shot. So it went from a downspout to a whole new system. And then there went my new saddle. So see, if I just say there's no lack, no loss, no deprivation, and I don't replace it in my consciousness because I wasn't, a sense of loss, gutters, comes up, deprivation, no saddle, with evidence. So there has to be a replacement. And we replace it with the consciousness of God is our sufficiency. Then Twist would say, the universe is sufficient for creation. And she has evidence after evidence after evidence of in any sort of ecosystem, there is sufficiency in that system. But we have to believe in sufficiency. Jehovah Jireh. God is my provider. God is enough. There is enough. Now, I don't have to have a whole bunch. I just want enough for gutters and a saddle. That's all I'm asking. Soon. And, well, I figure if I get the cutting saddle, the cutting horse will come. But thank you for knowing what kind of saddle I wanted. All right. Anyway. So, when we say that God is our sufficiency, we continue to look to spirit and we realize, as the mystics would say it this way, I am what God is. Therefore, I am sufficient. I am enough. I am the power and light to express what needs to be expressed in my life now. And it's not only for myself, but I share that consciousness with others. Because just as poverty is a mindset, so is sufficiency. Abundance is a mindset. Prosperity just means doing well. It means flourishing. It's a mindset. Can you flourish where you are? Can you flourish? It doesn't matter how much you have. Are you flourishing? Do you feel like I'm thriving? I'm thriving. Lynn gives many beautiful examples, and there's no more books, but we're getting more in this week. But she gives beautiful examples of how the idea of sufficiency changed people's lives. And she defines sufficiency, and I'm reading it because I think it's wonderful. She defines it as an experience, a context that we generate. We generate it within ourselves. It's a declaration and a knowing that there is enough. And we are enough. Jehovah Jireh is God is my provider, but since God is always present, it's always providing us with what we need in the moment that we need it. And maybe I don't need the saddle till the horse shows up. I'm not sure which comes first, the horse or the saddle, the chicken or the egg. Who knows? But anyway, I'm just kidding. Actually, I make a joke about this, but I'm just holding that it all works out. And I'm going to be so delighted in the way that Spirit works this out for me. I'm just like, okay, Kathianne, you have a pull to do this? It'll work. You don't have to fuss with it. Jehovah Jireh. God is my provider. So I want to tell you an example of an idea being a solution. Just one of the many that she talks about in the book. And it's about a tribe that lived in the middle of and I'm not sure I'm going to say this right, Sahel desert. It's Sahel desert. And it's in the Senegal. And it's, I guess, spreading towards the ocean. It's just taking over the country. And so tribe after tribe after tribe is being left with little or no water. And I guess this particular type of desert is the sand is so fine it's like powder, and nothing can live in it. But while Lynn was working for the Hunger Project, she got word that there were all these people running out of water, and could there be any help for them getting new wells or whatever for water? And so she and 19 other people took a trip out into the desert. So they were on a rough road and then no road. And the way that the drivers were finding the village, or what was left of the village, is they were using compasses. Geocaching to find a tribe. That's it. Oh, yeah. You could, yeah. Hey, all right. You're all over it. Yes. So the ultimate geocaching. And pretty soon they would stop the trucks or the jeeps or whatever they were in and listen, and they could hear distant drumming. The village was drumming them to them, sending sound for them to find them. And they finally found a group of about 120 people under a massive tree, the last tree. And they're all sitting in the shade, and it's about 95 degrees. And because she and her group were the leaders and the experts coming from out of town, the men all gathered around them and listened. But she noticed the women were over on one side. They were Muslim. So they separated men from women. And she noticed that the women were like excited, and the men were like, "Whoa, we got a problem." And the women were like, and so she said, "I need to talk to the women." And the men said, "Well, go ahead and talk to them, but They don't make decisions in our tribe. Now, that's not Muslim. That could be a lot of places. So no discrimination against Muslims. So she goes and talks to the women. They said, we have been praying to Allah. And Allah has given us a dream. And we've all dreamed the same dream. And we dream that there is a lake under the sand. We know there's a lake under the sand. And they're so excited that somebody will listen to them because the men won't. It's cultural. So, sort of like some of you may have done with your children when you couldn't get through to them, you had an aunt or an uncle talk to them. The women had these outsiders go talk to the men and say, I think there's a lake under here, and maybe you should just dig for it. So they provided tools, and it took a year. Because they didn't have electricity, they couldn't haul the propane out. They had to do it with regular tools. And so they were shoveling. It took a long time. But they found an underground lake, not only enough for their village. Wow, that's a lot. They really love you. They want you to answer that call. I think it's God. Operator. Yeah. Now, I love you. So anyway, it took a year, but they found enough water not only for their village, but for 17 other villages. Wow. See, Jehovah Jireh, the women were receptive to downloads. If God gives, it gives to everyone, and it gives all the time. It doesn't pick and choose. But do you choose to listen? Do you choose to listen? And you listen by setting aside your opinion. You listen by setting aside what you know. You listen by saying, I need an idea here. Jehovah Jireh. When we are faced with obstacles, it's a call to listen more deeply. And something will happen. Then goes on to say that if you really accept sufficiency, you will accept 3 of its offspring. The first one is that money is like water and it flows. It's meant to flow. If it's not flowing, it becomes stagnant and unhealthy. And she gave so many examples of people living on trust funds. So many people living off of 5 generations of money and how they had to hang on to it and therefore did not live, nor contribute. It was all about hanging on and how it made them sick. The hanging on makes sick. She also said that money is like a carrier, like water is. Water carries things, carries minerals, it carries what's upstream. It carries things into the ocean. That's why we have to be careful of our rainwater and what's going into the Puget Sound, because water will carry things with it. Your money will carry things with it. So when you spend it with love, give it with a blessing, intend that it work well. Intend that it do good work. So bless your bills. Frankly, I love paying the PUD because I like switches. The whole idea of, getting the propane out and no. I like switches. It's nice. I like pushing a button and the garage door comes up. I'm sorry, I like it. I don't have to get out in the rain. It's a wonderful thing. PUD. Also, let your money go to people and organizations that do good work in the world. And you can also vote with your money. For instance, no matter how much of a crafter I am, there's a certain craft store I'm not going to. I'm not going there. And I hear that they've got more stuff than Michael's. But I'm not going. There's also a place that sells wonderful chicken sandwiches. People rave about them. I'm not going there. No, so I'm driving, I'm hungry. I'm not going there. Because I want my money to flow into places that I think do good work in the world. And you can do some research. Have your money flow to local stores, local businesses, businesses that are owned by minorities, restaurants that you want to have flourish. Eat there. It's like how you spend is powerful. Be aware of it. Don't just throw it away. Don't be unconscious of money. Now, this is a statement, I think it's kind of sexist, but forgive me. You know it's going to be bad if I ask forgiveness first. But this came from Reverend Ike. Reverend Ike said, money is like a fine woman. It's not staying around if you don't treat it well. And yet we know that that's sometimes not true. Number 2, what you appreciate appreciates. It's very similar to something that I have been teaching for a very long time, which is what you give your attention to increases. What are you giving your attention to? Are you giving your attention to what's not working or what's working? Are you giving your attention to, I'm a little short this month, or look, I got to pay all these bills? Are you giving your attention to, I'm going without, or look what I have? The truth is, the more you pay attention to what you have and appreciate it, the more that will happen. And I got it. It's sometimes hard to shift. I know it. It's so easy to go into, but it's worth it. It's worth it. It works. I was thinking about this when I was thinking about the stories of Jesus healing people, places. He would look up and give thanks. I think he was appreciating the times that God had answered the prayers. So there's like, thank you. It's like, it's already done. You've always answered my prayers. I think he paid attention to God paying attention. So God paid attention. So he knew that when he said something, God was already paying attention. If we don't pay attention to the miracles in our life, then when we need one, we're going to go, I hope. It'd be nice. Better call a practitioner. Do I even know who they are? You have one on your cell phone. Number 3, according to Lynn Twist, collaboration creates prosperity. Collaboration. The idea that it's the survival of the fittest, that's not true in nature. It's the survival of the most collaborative, the most cooperative, the most connections. What we know now about trees is they're all connected. They give to each other. They talk to each other. I mean, let's be as smart as a tree. Really. Some ways to collaborate, because some of you might be thinking, well, how would I collaborate? Number 1, take God as your partner. And not the silent partner, the vocal partner. Make God the CEO of your life. And this whole thing about God as my co-pilot, oh, heck no. I want it in the driver's seat. I want to be in the back with a smoothie. I am so willing to have God drive. Because frankly, I've been up there. And sometimes God's yelling instructions and I'm going, I can't do it. So just God drive. Let God drive. How do you do that? In the morning, I am divinely directed in all of my ways. I'm divinely directed in all my ways. Number 2, get a Sangha. How many of you are in a Sangha? I encourage those of you that are not in a Sangha to seek a Sangha. If you have want to start one or join one, Janelle's downstairs, and she is trying to put people together. Life goes better when you have people praying for you. To just meet once a month and discuss what's going on in your life and pray for one another is so uplifting. You are in then a spiritual community of your own. And then the third thing is, know that you're supposed to be the force for good in the world. You know, we had a slogan, we are a force for good in the world. Well, it's not the organization, it's you and me and everyone else. You're the face of God. You can be in the encouragement of God. You know, I wish, we should have a ceremony and everybody, you come up and I'd ordain you in the name of the Lord to go out and be a force for good in the world. And you're just like, how am I going to be a force for? You will be directed. Not like in any certain way because you're all unique. If I told you to do something, the rest, 95% of you would say, not me, because that's who we attract. Individualists, but you would find an individual way to do it. You'd find a way that's unique and wonderful to do it. And it would be fun. Because how many of you have made someone else's day and it felt so good? Wouldn't it be great to just do that more often? Like, whose day am I going to make today? It gives a whole new meaning to make my day. Thank you, you saw that movie. When we continue to let Spirit release and dissolve within us the idea of scarcity, and we know that not enough and I need more is just a lie that's been made up by our culture to keep us on a hamster wheel. When we continue to look up, we will start to remember our essence. Remember our essence. It won't change our essence. We will remember it. And I've worked for, I've done this with, hundreds and hundreds of people, where I've taken them back to right before incarnation, before they took on their story, before they took on their body, before they took on the family, before they took on a country or a circumstance, and before all of that. And they would remember, they just remember that they were pure light and pure love and pure potential. And that couldn't change. Now they forgot and they covered it up, but it's still true. Now, if it's true for all those people, I have a hunch it's true about you, whether you remember it or not. I have a hunch that if you became quiet enough, you would remember who you were before you became the actor on the stage. And you let people around you give you a script that you had to repeat off of. And you'd remember that you can change scripts at any time. And when you know who you are, you will understand that in that consciousness there is no lack. In that consciousness there is no loss. In that consciousness there's nothing to deprive you of a thriving life. In that consciousness. So just let that sink in. And so it is.